Am I the asshole for asking my grandparents how they can be so cruel after they accused my mom of the same? 2 years ago my parents' marriage ended because my mom found out dad was cheating and had another woman pregnant. My sisters and I, 17 male, 15 female and 14 female, wanted nothing to do with dad afterward, and he was not given any formal custody. It was a decision left for us to decide if we wanted to see him. We didn't. He had a daughter with the other woman a year ago. Now their daughter was taken by CPS and is currently sitting in foster care. My grandparents, dad's parents, want my mom to raise her so we will know her and so she will have us growing up. Mom said no. At the same time they were trying to pressure us to accept visits with her so she'll know us anyway, but my sisters and I are not interested. My guess is they want us to meet her so we'll ask mom to raise her. Mom did get a call and was asked if she would take her by a social worker, but her no was the last contact we had with the social worker. We only had contact once before that where she was asked if visits between us and the girl were wanted. They weren't. My mom tries to keep me and my sisters out of it, but I have heard her lose her cool and answer the phone to tell my grandparents to leave her alone. I also heard my grandparents call her names and remind her over and over that my sisters and I are related to this girl and mom should want us to know each other and be close. I heard mom cry the other night, so I called my grandparents and told them to leave my mom alone. They tried to defend themselves, but I told them to stop. I brought up them calling my mom cruel earlier that day, and I asked them how they could be cruel. I asked why didn't they take their granddaughter and why do they want her to be somewhere she's not wanted or loved or cared about. They spluttered over the phone, but I didn't let them really speak, and I told them that's exactly what they're trying to set her up for and it's not good. I told them none of us want her here or want a relationship, and they're the cruel ones trying to force her in here anyway. They went crazy yesterday over what I said. Mom finally blocked them, but they're also trying to make themselves heard via social media. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. It was very courageous of you to stand up for your mom. She is raising an amazing young man. You are absolutely right, they're cruel, and this is especially mean considering this is your dad's affair child. They need to focus on their own child, your dad, and help him get the help he needs since he lost custody of his love child. Huge not the asshole. They don't have any business talking to your mother about this period, let alone trying to pressure her to take in her ex's love child. The fact that they want this kid to go to a not family member instead of themselves speaks volumes about how much they actually care. Not the asshole, your grandparents have some nerve. Info. Why was she taken by CPS? What happened to your father and his mistress? Not the asshole. Let them cry about it over social media. They're only making themselves look bad. It's a shame that they're already poisoning your relationship with this innocent child out of the gate. It would be nice if you could have a relationship with her someday when you were ready. But that's less likely now that they've already instilled a second dose of resentment in you for a child that hasn't even done anything yet. It's common sense that neither you nor your mom would want to live with a constant reminder of your dad's infidelity right now. Imagine plastering over social media that your son's ex-wife won't take his child and not being ashamed that his child has literally been taken away from him. Not the asshole. He had a daughter with the other woman a year ago. Now their daughter was taken by CPS and is currently sitting in foster care. My grandparents, dad's parents, want my mom to raise her so we will know her and so she will have us growing up. Like you asked them, why don't they adopt her? Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for refusing to let my mother-in-law redecorate our nursery? So I, 26F, am currently 32 weeks pregnant with mine and my husband Felix's, 27M, first child. Things have been going well, and one of the great things is that Felix is a builder, and so everything with the nursery went pretty smoothly pretty fast. We agreed at the start what kind of vibe we wanted to go with it, and it's pretty much already done. Figured that we'd get it sorted as soon as possible so it wasn't another thing to worry about later. My mother-in-law has always been a bit of a nightmare but has been better since the news that I'm pregnant. Though not without issue. For example, she told me that I should lose some weight, and that it wasn't healthy for me or the baby. She knows that I used to struggle with anorexia and I'm not any sort of unhealthy weight. In the past I've kept my mouth shut and let Felix deal with her. As the nursery has almost been completed, she suddenly decided to invite herself around more. I work from home currently. She comes in on the regular, asks me when I'm going to have lunch and, oh, could you just pop me something in too? And then we'll wander into the nursery and start rearranging things. I know this sounds stupid, but once she literally bought an IKEA bag full of stuff that she put in there. It doesn't match, but I've never said anything really beyond, oh, thanks so much for the thought, etc. Yesterday when she came around uninvited, she looked me up and down and said, really? Joggers? Thank God Felix isn't here, and then walked into the nursery and started asking me where the pillow she'd put in the crib had gone, why I'd taken out the fairy lights hanging on the wall right by it, etc. I explained that they were potential safety hazards to the future baby and that I'd taken them out. She started with, "Oh, well, I've had 3 children, and I really think you should take more of my advice," and then looked me in the eyes and said, "You're really not going to be a good mother at this rate." I don't know if it was the pregnancy hormones, but I just stared at her for a moment and then told her to get out of the house. I'd been up all night and had loads of work and wasn't in the mood. She got very uptight about it and then left. Felix says he's going to talk to her and tell her that she shouldn't be reorganizing anything without our permission, but I don't know if it was just the hormones and I'm being unreasonable. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Felix needs to put down a lot more boundaries. No more popping by when he isn't around. She has to ask him to come over and can only do so when he says yes and he is there. No more talk about your health or weight, ever. No redecorating or moving anything in your house. I'm sure there need to be more. This is to get you started with him. He needs to protect you and your child. Not the asshole. Your mother-in-law is a huge one though. You deserve better treatment, and you advocating for yourself doesn't make you an AH. Also, remember, if she's treating you this way, she could treat your children this way too. Especially little girls, since the comments she made were rooted in misogyny. Take care. What the fuck, change the locks to your house if she has a key, stop letting her come over whenever she wants, and make her leave the second she insults you. Zero tolerance for her shit is the only way. Your husband is married to you, not her. He needs to tell her to smarten up. Not the asshole someone insults you to your face and oversteps. You are just reacting the way anyone other than a doormat would react. We do make allowances for Mills and other relatives when they accidentally push our buttons, but this isn't one of those cases. I wouldn't have seen anything wrong in saying you removed the items because TGEY didn't match your plan for the nursery. Not the asshole. As a soon-to-be grandparent, with 4 grown children that I have raised, I am well aware that things have changed in terms of parenting and safe environments for babies. So, I am reading up on current parenting research, ask questions and making notes of the parents' preferences. I will admit, it takes a lot of self-discipline to not go ham and buy every baby item I come across. But I remember being the new mom and wanting things done a certain way. I intend to respect the new parents' preferences as well. Either change the locks or stop answering the door. Or lock the nursery. She can visit when your husband is home to police her. Not the asshole. What a horrible woman. Am I the asshole for taking a solo bedroom instead of sharing with a stepbrother? My dad and his wife bought a new house together and we moved in last week. Before moving I, 15 male, was told I could get my own room or share with one of my stepbrothers, 11 and 7. Even though I was offered the choice, my dad and his wife wanted me to share with one of the boys. The reason for that is both stepbrothers think of me as a brother, not a step, and because they both admire me, look up to me. The 7-year-old hero worships me and is super clingy and always wants to hang out and be my friend and be my brother. It's a lot really. I don't like it. Sometimes I like getting out of the house just to not have my shadow with me everywhere I go. Most people would find it sweet, but I find it exhausting. When we lived in the other house, he always wanted to sleep in my room for sleepovers and stuff and was disappointed when I'd say no. The 11-year-old has autism and he looks up to me too, but in a different way. I'm one of the only people he has ever wanted to spend time with. I'm one of the only people he's comfortable around too. He doesn't sleep great but will nap if I'm in the room, so they thought I'd be good for him in that way. They think I'd be good for both, but they don't have the closest of relationships, and the 7-year-old can make the 11-year-old edgy, so them sharing is not a great solution. I never wanted to share with either of them, and since we all live together 100% of the time, no other parents to go to, I knew having my own room was a big deal for me. So I chose my own room. My dad and his wife were really unhappy about it. They gave me the choice though, for reasons, so they're willing to follow through, but they're also going to make sure I know how disappointed and unhappy it makes them. We became a stepfamily 2 years ago BTW. So am I the asshole? Most people would find it sweet, but I find it exhausting. The people who find it sweet are 25 or older and not having it happen to them. Like me. Your reaction is pretty gentle for what I would expect from a teenage boy, lol. It's fine to want your own space. It's not an insult to anyone. Your dad and stepmother have their own room, I'm sure. That doesn't mean they hate you all, obviously. Shouldn't mean that for you either. Not the asshole. You made the choice that is right for you. Having to share with a younger kid wouldn't have worked. Honestly, the stepmom needs to realize that. If the other two have to share, maybe help figure out how to make a divider so they both get privacy. Not the asshole. You are the oldest, that ought to come with some privilege. It's great that the boys look up to you, but sometimes you need them to look from afar, I understand where your dad and stepmom are coming from, but they need to understand that since there is that second bedroom to have more space, then surely they, when they were 15, would have chosen to be the one to have it alone, as well. I can understand wanting breathing room. The boys will just have to learn to get along better with each other, and that is on their mom. It's not up to you to take on that role. Not the asshole. Giving false choices is a pedagogical mistake. It leads to children thinking that their opinion isn't valued, which in your case, seemed to be what's going on. Your parents acted poorly. Not the asshole. Very unfair for your father and his wife to pretend you have a choice, then act disappointed when you make the choice they didn't want you to make. You're your own person. The adults shouldn't be giving you the job of helping the younger boys modulate their emotions. You've only known them for 2 years and I think you deserve to have your own room. Not that it really matters, as the older stepbrother had autism, but you say he is both 11 and 14. 15-11-year-olds sharing a room is a bit of an age difference to share a room, and 15-7 is definitely too big of an age difference to share a room. Even a 15-14 with one having autism is asking too much of you. It's a new house. They should have gotten a 4-bedroom. Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for repeating back what he said to me? Am I the asshole, me, 24F, and my boyfriend, 29M, were sat on the sofa when I mentioned how bloated I am. I just ate a huge serving of pasta. He turns and says, "You look 4 months pregnant," to which I said in return, "Yeah, well, you look 8 months pregnant." He's taken massive offense to my reply back, stating because I'm not actually fat and that he was joking. His comment was okay, however, because he is on the larger side and struggles with his weight, I shouldn't have said that. I replied back saying he shouldn't have said that in the first place then, and to take it as you will. He said that there's things you shouldn't joke about if the other person is self-conscious about. So I replied back saying if he's so self-conscious about his weight, then he shouldn't be joking about other people's weight regardless of if they're self-conscious about it or not. He said he will starve himself for 2 weeks now because of that comment. He stormed off and shut himself in the bedroom because he can't believe what I said to him and demanded an apology. I did apologize twice. Am I the asshole in this situation? There's things you shouldn't joke about if the other person is self-conscious about. Not the asshole. Not nice to joke about people's weight and you can't act butthurt when someone does it back at you. Not the asshole. It was clearly said in a joking manner, he way overreacted. It's not like you guys were in a heated argument and you mentioned his weight to hurt his feelings. Y'all were being silly, and even if he was sensitive about it, he should have just taken it because it was innocent. Not the asshole. If you can't take it, don't give it. That's a very basic rule of life. He needs to grow up if he doesn't already understand that. If you really want to piss someone off, a sure way of doing it is to repeat back what they say. When people say mean things, they always say the things that bother them about themselves, whether they realize it or not. Otherwise, they wouldn't think it. It works every time, and they almost never realize that you're repeating them. Not the asshole. How sure are you that this is a grown man? Because I'm not convinced. Not the asshole. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, as the old expression goes.